This is about the unboxing and selecting of a diesel heater. I've had that diesel heater in the cabin of my HQ15 for like a year and a half anyways, and then it started doing the white smoke. And of course, you know, my propane furnace, which came with the trailer, quit working. I had to look into that. Then that diesel heater quit working. So I was down to the one diesel heater in my frame, which I have talked about in previous videos. And after I do this unboxing video, I'll do a video on the install, but it'll be very basic because there are a ton of videos on installing. But what I'm going to add to mine is some key things that people don't realize and I've not ever seen mentioned before. And I got out of the manual from the LAVANER, knowing I had to rip that diesel heater out to get rid of that white smoke and clean up all the carbon buildup, made me think I should do a little more research on which diesel heater, which company, because the one I have, I don't even know if there is a company, just a generic one off of eBay. I mean, for $35, you know, how can you go wrong? But I want reliability because I'm full-time. I'm in the winter, so I want one that is definitely working and reliable and of good quality. But I didn't want to spend the over $1,000 American for the Wabasso. So finding the reviews on diesel heaters isn't that easy, I have found. And I did find one, and I will link you to it. And you can go check it out. I recommend that before you make your selection. And I'll go over in the video why I selected the one I did. Yeah, and too, with the old diesel heater, when I get it out, I'll clean it up and keep it as a spare in case I ever have issues with the other one. Knowing that I can get parts for this quickly, there's dealers in Canada. That made it, you know, pretty easy decision. And it's a touch cheaper than the HLN, which really at this price point isn't really a big difference, whether we're talking maybe 40, 50 bucks difference. So not a big deal. It's just the fact of the wait time on getting the actual unit and the time that it might take to get any spare parts. I think I'm really excited about getting into this box, having to look at all of it. Then I've seen it on the UK van video. I'll link it so that you get to go to it and check out their review of all the different diesel heaters that they looked at. There might be 3 or 4 of them, maybe 5 or 6 actually. And they're pretty straight up, and that's what I really like. People that just shoot straight, tell it like it is, and makes it a whole lot easier to make a good choice. And there are other little things that separate the LAVANER from the HLN diesel heater that might work better for someone else than say for me. I mean, I would love to have the air intake filter that they have, but that's about the only thing that really impressed me that was different than this. And also the fan is brushless, so it's a little quieter. And same with their pump, is 20 decibels quieter than this unit or my old one. But that's not a big deal because my pump's mounted outside in the frame. It's got that rubber holder, and I've got styrofoam between it and the frame, so I don't hear that tick, 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 tick all night long, right? So that's not a big deal for me. And even with this old diesel heater, it will make more noise than this new one will. And it wasn't a big deal because that's still quieter than the propane furnace blowing on and off. The diesel heater for me is just a way nicer. It's drier heat, more evenly heats the cabin than the propane where it cycles up, cycles down. So this is a winner for me. And if you check out my other, my diesel install and how I winterize the frame, you'll see how much more of an advantage this has too, that I can now draw air in even while the diesel heater sits idling, because it's still creating heat, and I can take that heat and put it back into here, circulating it. So that's a bonus too. So with all of that, let's get to the unboxing. So I've seen on YouTube where people do unboxing of things, so I don't plan on doing a bunch of them. I just happen to have something I can unbox, and I thought for fun I would do it. I have a diesel heater in the frame of my trailer to keep the water line warm in the winter. I'm from Canada, and I have a diesel heater down in this bench. And I came across UK VANLIFE, and they have several videos on, excellent videos on diesel heaters. And they happen to have done a couple, 3 weeks ago, a comparison test, different models. So I watched that, and the top two were a little bit, the top two in their video are a jump in price. This one is one of those two. The other one that you might rate slightly better, depending on your needs, was the HLN. Now, both people I sent emails to, both companies, and they both replied to me right away within pretty short time period. So, and corresponding both the same. The difference for me was that this was sold here in Canada. In fact, in BC, where I'm presently camped. So that was an easy ship and took a couple, 3 days. They were corresponding, was excellent, you know, even in off hours. So that's pretty awesome. And whereas the other, wasn't it that much more money, but I would have to wait for sure 3 weeks to have, because it was going to get air shipped. So, well, let's pull this box out. It's nicely packaged, I will say. You know, they even give you a template so you know the marking of the holes in the plate for the turret. Some more paperwork. Alright, looks like I opened the accessory box. Oh, the other thing is the HLN is slightly shorter apparently. So there's, you know, the one plate. I don't need this. I've got a 17-gallon tank, but that'll be a nice piece to have for down the road. Twist ties. You know, there's a nicer air intake than I do presently have. These look pretty solid for sure. So that's somewhere in all of this. Oh, that's the harness. That's the other thing. The harnesses on these diesel heaters are much nicer than the harness on the one I got up at eBay. The advantage for some, for the HLN, was just simply it had corrugated like that plastic loom. But I don't need that because I'm not running it down the frame. And this has also got fusing for the controller and for the heater itself. So it is pretty nice, really nicely done. You can't debate that. Now, the one off of eBay cost me $125, I think it was, American. This one cost me with shipping and the, you know, the tax in Canada, $6.50. But, you know, the quality is substantially better, and I just, because I full time, I mean, that's a pretty nice heat tube for the exhaust to cover it up, so you're not getting any burning off of it. And some of the accessories, right, which is standard. That is a pretty nice exhaust pipe for sure. And it's stainless, so that's nice. Standard type. Oh, no, I shouldn't say standard because it looks like it does have some filtering inside of it. I don't know if you can see, but and the upgraded gas line, plus you're getting spare gaskets, a pump. Oh, and a much better fuel filter as well. Look at that. You can take it out, you can clean it. It has a water separator as well as the screening. So that's great. And the clamps. I mean, look at those clamps. They are way nicer clamps. as well. I don't know if I forgot I have the camera above me too. And then the exhaust is an upgraded exhaust. You can't see right through it like you did on the cheaper models. It actually is routed down and there's some screening in it. So I rarely use the exhaust, so that was, you know, not a big deal to me personally, but for others that might matter, especially if you're the type that want to do the stealth type camping. Okay, so that's that box. Now, this one's in pack is kind of interesting. All right, so here's the turret, I believe they call it. So that's pretty nice. Sit down in there and help, because a lot of times people forget to put this in, and you know, if it's close to the floor, it will burn the floor. I've seen where they removed the heaters and they didn't have a plate in, a protective plate. There were burn marks in the vinyl flooring. So make sure to, you know, use one of these. Oh yeah, and the controller is definitely a nice controller. And this unit automatically adjusts itself when you do elevation changes. So it'll adjust the air and diesel intake. Much nicer on, off, plus or minus. It's a lot more quality, solid unit. This is nice that it's smaller, and when the screen isn't being active for X amount of seconds or minutes, it dims out. So you don't have that glare 100% of the time. And it's a bit of a power saver too for some people that might matter. And that's probably more instructions. And then I just flopped it open. So that's the heater. Yeah. So that's the unboxing of it. That's the deal. Nice thick heat rubber pad here, gasket, so good seal. I'm looking forward to the install and to have something super reliable, because like I say, I full time, I'm in Canada, and I love it. It's really solid. It looks great. Awesome. Oh, and the instruction book is also actually really well done. And you can easily understand it. Nice improvement from previous books or manuals, if you want to call them that, from other diesel heaters. So 2 thumbs up, and it's half the price of a Webasto. So, and the people who are involved with this were all worked for Webasto at one point in time. So hey, that's my spiel. Cheers.